Greetings, fellow thinkers and drinkers, another Motörhead installment. After the success, and I think it was a success, of Orgasmatron, they needed to follow it up. Which they did. Album released the next year called Rock and Roll. Some changes to the band again. Pete Gill had come and gone. Apparently, got up Lemmy's nose, was asked to leave, and Filthy Animal Taylor returned and would spend the next few years back on the drum stool, where many said he belonged. This is unfortunately will turn out to be one of their weaker efforts across their entire catalogue. We'll go through the songs just now, but there's another really lame production going on here. And it just seems a bit uninspired. I don't know, maybe they, it's... Sometimes you're just not in a creative mood. I don't know. What other pressures were going on? Whether they were self-inflicted pressures or just one of those things, or it just, turned out to be one of those occasions, Bad day at the office, darling. We all have them. And it starts out with the title track, Rock and Roll, which is a reasonable start. I think there's nothing bad here, despite my disparaging remarks. There's nothing, there's no real clunkers around here. It's kind of upbeat. It's got the sort of driving qualities you kind of look for in Motörhead. It's recognizably Motörhead, so there's nothing adventurous going on here. But I have to say, it is the weakest opening number of their career thus far, which is not a great start. The next track, Eat the Rich, was the theme song to a comedy film of the same name, which I'm sure I've seen. I must have seen it, but I don't remember it. It's kind of forgettable, which is unfortunately reflective of this track. It's back to the heavy rock and roll of yesteryear, so it's recognizable. Again, would not have sounded out of place on any of the Fast Eddie albums, truth be told. It's not bad, but it's just not that great. It's okay, it's a decent song. Followed up with Blackheart. Okay, they're pressing a bit harder on the gas here. And again, it's another decent song. It's got a bit of a weak chorus, and kind of get the feeling this could have done with some extra effort. I'm not sure who produced this or why, but it's perhaps one of those albums where you think if they'd had a decent producer, like Vic Mail, Lemmy was complimentary of how he got them to concentrate more on and think more about the songwriting on Ace of Spades, and Tony Platt, obviously, well, I don't obviously, but judging by the results. On Another Perfect Day, very, very, very good songwriting. Maybe, who knows? But again, decent but not great. Stone Deaf in the USA, it's got a great tempo beat to it. Promising backing track, if I can put it that way. But it's the tune and the vocal melody that Lemmy puts on top of it. It doesn't elevate it. Maybe that's a criticism we can use of some of the apply to some of the other songs as well. Perfectly good idea, but they just didn't develop it. Now the studio they recorded Rock and Roll at, and I forget the name of it, was at least part owned by Monty Python legend Michael Palin. And because the band were all huge Monty Python fans, as anybody with taste is, somebody got a hold of Michael and he came down to the studio, and I'm fairly sure he had no fucking clue who Motörhead were, but nice guy that he is. He entered into the spirit of things, and some conversation with Lemmy, and they asked him to do a little humorous introduction for one of the songs, which is actually introduced. I don't know if it's the end of Stone Deaf Forever or it's actually the introduction to the next song. It doesn't really matter, but it's only a minute in length, and he does a mock Church of England vicar, priest, whatever they call them, blessing Motörhead in his typical Python-esque, Palin-esque fashion. Although strangely, it reminds me as much of Monty Python. It reminds me of Alan Bennett's monologue from Beyond the Fringe, where he takes the piss out of the Church of England sermon. But still, it's funny. Not out of place, actually. You know, something like that are not guaranteed to work, but yeah, it's funny. I think done in the right spirit. Like I said, the whole band were fans of Monty Python. Although what Mr. Palin thought about it, I don't know. I haven't read his voluminous diaries, but I don't know if he mentions Motörhead. By rights, he should have devoted a chapter to it, but I got a feeling he didn't. Anyway, we carry on with the music. Next track is The Wolf. Another really fast song. This is, again, something that started on Orgasmatron. There's a distinctly heavy metal sound to this, certainly creeping in. Actually, it's a pretty good song. Really good riff. And they seem to have put a little bit more effort into this one. I like it. Good song. Okay, it follows up with Traitor. Again, yes, it's another heavy metal song. And again, it's not intrinsically bad. It's just not especially memorable, I'm afraid. There's another one. Could have tried a little harder, guys. And yeah, you can effectively say the same thing for Dogs, which again has a really great riff. What I will say, it's got a slightly more adventurous arrangement. It's a little bit staccato, stop-start here. So at least they're trying something. A good foundation to the song, and it should perhaps have been a better song, but unfortunately, what Lemmy's done with it is not that spectacular. Yeah, the vocal melody and the tune they just don't elevate what is I think it's a really good backing track, but never mind. We move on to All For You. It's one of those songs, and they will continue to, they've done one or two in the past, and they will continue to do them. It's songs with a distinct commercial flair to them. Almost thinking single potential. And it would not have been out of the realms of possibility had they released it. It could have caught on in some way. It's just really catchy. It's a very melodic song for Motörhead. And I have to say, it's the best thing on the album. It's a really strong track. And it's the one that stands out. Now, the album itself closes with Bogeyman. Again, they've always had a very strong tradition of album openers. And they haven't done too bad on album closes thus far either, have they? Let's be fair. This breaks the mold. Again, another upbeat song. There's a good, fundamentally decent backing track there, but yeah, as a song, it's just not that special. It's not bad, but it's not that special. It's a decent closer, but this is not the Hammer. This is not Orgasmatron. You know? Oh, there you have it. I said in the beginning, this is, for me, one of their weakest albums. Certainly one I listen to the least. There's another one coming up in a review or two. But this is a bit of a disappointment, and I think it was recognized as such at the time and subsequently. Lemmy said at some point that they never made a bad album. I'd have to agree with him on that, but this is just about as close as they got. Again, this is really weak production to this. It just lacks oomph. And unfortunately, so do many of the compositions. As I've said repeatedly, there are good ideas abounding, but they just haven't been realized. Whether, I don't know, and whatever the reason for that were. Time constraints, too hungover, lack of inspiration on any given day. We know Motörhead don't spend months writing and recording. Yeah. The majority of the songs on here, had they been on other albums, they would have been seen as a less attractive, not filler. But when you have an album of them, with the exception, again, of All For You, yeah, it's a bit disappointing, I have to say. It's also very unusual when you pick the best song on a Motörhead album and it is the most commercial, the most melodic, the most radio-friendly song on the album, and you're saying that one's the best. I'm afraid that's a reasonable indication that all was not well. However, the story will continue, and there's really good stuff to come. This is a slight blip, but most catalogs have them. So not a bad album, just not a great one. So you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all those good things. And I again thank you for your indulgence, and we will be back next time. And until then, ma chonkia.